For years, everybody has said that London is too expensive to buy property. So I thought I'd set myself a challenge to try and find the cheapest house in London and see if it's actually viable as an investment. My general guidance has always been, don't invest in London, certainly not for buy-to-let because the yields are terrible. But I've noticed a lot of my academy members are actually buying in London. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? And I looked into it, and there's areas like Chelsea, for example, which historically has been extremely expensive, but they've crashed. In fact, in Chelsea, there's many parts where the house prices are the same as they were in 2017. And there are a lot of strategies that you can do now, like turning a one-bed flat into a two-bed, like buying short lease properties and extending the lease. And in London, if you can manage to get permitted development to even extend into the loft, for example, you can make a lot of money on the uplift. There's also a lot of empty houses in London where you can negotiate with the sellers. There's people that own properties in London that haven't been lived in for years. They just sat there empty, and the owner isn't getting any rent. The house isn't going down and down and down in price. So there's opportunities there to negotiate creative vendor finance deals. So I'm tired of talking. Let's get on Rightmove and let's see if we can find the cheapest house in London. I'm just going to put London and let's see. This area only. I'm not going to include under offer. So let's include flats for the time being. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter out auction properties, buying schemes, retirement homes and new homes. We don't want to see those. And that brings it down to 43,000. All right, cool. So the cheapest house in London is currently a boat for £90,000. Another boat for 97,000. Another boat. Oh, and a parking spot for 100,000 and a garage. A single garage for 100,000. You know what? This is absolutely insane. The cheapest property in London that's not a boat is a garage for £100,000. I'm going to just search houses though and see the cheapest house. Terraced? Yeah, we want it terraced, don't we, realistically? So now let's see. The cheapest house in London is another garage. £195,000 for a garage with no planning permission. This is a joke. I was excited about the idea of London being a bit cheaper. Okay, here's a 3-bed house for 220. Freehold. Okay. So 220 grand and you can buy a house. I mean, it looks disgusting. It looks absolutely hideous. It's a repossession by the looks of things because everything's all taped up. So that's 220 grand. Cash buyers wanted. Council tax band-aid. EPC waiting. Okay, it's a concrete construction. So that means that you probably wouldn't get a mortgage on it because it's not made of brick. But it is a house. But let's keep looking. A bit of land. Oh, 1 bed. 1 bed house. Okay, this is good. 1 bed house. It's freehold. It's 275. It's got a garden. Okay. It says it would work for a buy-to-let. Or, okay, good. Cul-de-sac. Where's it located? It's located... Okay, in Plaistow. Not a terrible area. Not the best. But, I mean, it is the cheapest house in the entire of London online. Next to the airport. That could work as service accommodation, you know, really well. So, West Beckton, 275 grand for a nice, decent condition with a garden house in London. 1 bed house, but it's still a house. It's quite impressive, really. So there we have it. 275 grand. Cheapest house in London. 1 bedroom in West Pecton. I wonder what the return on investment would be on this. Would this be a worthwhile investment? Let's assume you just did it as a normal rental. It says, doesn't it? It would be good for a buy-to-let. So what I want to do is I want to get the postcode. How you find the postcode is I'm just going to search the address. So E16 3TB. Now, if we go to Rightmove and search properties for rent in that area, let's see what's for rent. So there's a 2-bed terraced house here for £1,998. 2-bed terrace for 2,800, 2,300, 2,500. Okay, this is just, here's a 1 bed. 1 bed house. EPC. Wow, that's rough. Let's see what this looks like on the inside. It looks fine. So that's probably the closest comparison. So 1.5 grand rent is probably what you'd get. You might be able to push it up to 2, but I think you're probably going to get 1.5 grand rent. Here's the problem with that. If you bought this property for 275 grand, you would need a deposit of 25%, which would be 68 grand, Plus, you're going to probably have to pay stamp duty. You might be a first-time buyer, depend on you and your situation. But that's the deposit, 68,750. But then your mortgage is going to be 200 grand. If your interest rates are 4%, that means that your monthly payments are going to be around about 687. Okay, so you could buy that, rent it out for 1.5 grand. Your interest payments would be 687. You might make about 500 quid a month. The returns aren't great, but it wouldn't be a terrible purchase from the 5 minutes of me having a quick skim of it, and it certainly is the cheapest house in London. But you know what's really got me? The garages. Why are the garages so expensive? The cheapest garage I could find in London was 100 grand. Like, look, that's 195 grand. Why are the garages so expensive? That is ridiculous. Let me find the cheapest garage. Now, if it's got planning permission, I understand. But if it's a garage that can't be converted into a house, it's just literally a garage. To me, it makes no sense. Offers over 100 grand. Rare opportunity. Okay, there is 4 garages for sale. Plot included. How big is the plot though? And the roof needs repairs. Great for investors. Really? Is it? But there is 4. There is 4 garages here. Let's see if I can have a look at the pictures. Okay. Would you get planning permission to build houses there? I highly doubt it, but maybe you would. But what about that single garage? Oh, look at this. That is what you're buying. A garage for 13 square meters. A single garage for 30. You can't do anything with that ever, apart from keep something there. I don't even think I'd fit my car in that garage, and it's 100 grand. You know what? Let me just show you what you can get for the same price, just 3 or 4 hours up north. Like if we go to, I don't even have to go really that far up north, to be honest. If I just do, I don't know, Birmingham, but do within 40 miles. So here we have a house straight away. This is 65 grand. Stoke-on-Trent. Not a terrible area, to be honest. Stoke-on-Trent. Not an auction property. 2 bedrooms. I'm already looking at the floor plan and I'm thinking, could that be a HMO? Could you maybe put a corridor in? Could you get that as a HMO? That is literally 65 grand. Where is that? It's not even in a bad area. Just off the main elite road. I know the area. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's 65 grand. Loads of decent, solid 2-bed houses. Look, this is a buy-to-let opportunity. Long-term tenant. I wonder how much the tenant is paying rent. It's almost taking me too long to get to 100 grand because there's just too many properties. These are all 80 and now 85, 90. These are looking a little bit nicer now. Okay. So this is 98.5 grand in South Yorkshire. In Sheffield. Sheffield's not bad. 98.5 grand. It's got a nice garden. I mean, it does need a little bit of a refurb. A lot of a refurb. But you can change that. The 2 things you can't change are size and location. But look at the size of it. That is crazy. £98,000. I wonder what that would rent for if it was done up. Let's find out. So if we do within 1/4 mile of the postcode, that's going to get 98 grand, and it's what, 3-bedroomed house. So if we find a 3-bedroom house, here we go. So this is a 3-bedroom house. These are all within 1/4 mile. That's over £1,000. These are house shares where you're renting out room by room. But just as a normal house, if you rent out the whole house to a family, it's probably going to get, if it was in decent condition, you're going to fetch about £1 grand. Ironically, you're only going to get about £1.5 grand for that 275 grand in London. So the yield on this would be way better. Also, if you bought this for £98,000 and you rented it for, £800-900, maybe £1,000 a month, you'd do a refurb on it, but it would probably be worth a bit more once you'd refurbished it. Let's find out what it'd be worth. We go on recently sold. Okay, so the others, bear in mind ours is a 3-bed. I mean, that sold for 185, 140, 160, 130, So if you spent 20 grand, it's probably going to be worth 160, 170, 180. If you spent 20 grand, you've made a bit of money on the capital appreciation. So that, in my opinion, would be far better than buying a garage in London. But that was just one example. I mean, look, if we go to the next page, look, there's pages and pages. Here's a property. Here's a property. There's absolutely loads. Look at that one. That one's ready to rent, isn't it? Look, 99,950. Look how beautiful it is. Absolutely ready to go. 2 bedrooms. You're probably going to get £1,000 a month for that as well. Nice area, that one. St. Helens. That's a very decent area. Oh my goodness. Look at this one. That's what you can get for 100 grand. That is beautiful. Nice, big family home, good condition. 100 grand purchase. You're going to rent that out for over £1 grand a month. And you're only going to need a £25,000 deposit. to buy something like that and it's ready to rent. This one is 80 grand. It needs a little bit of a refurb, but 80 grand? Look how much house you're getting. And look, you get a garage for free. Quite a nice garage as well, that, isn't it? So imagine you're getting that garage for 80 grand. Look, you buy that for 80 grand and it comes with that whole house. Boom shaka. Or you just buy one of these garages for 100 grand in London. It blows my mind. But here's my prediction. I believe it won't be that long away in the future when people cannot believe you could buy a house for 80 grand with a garage. Like, it will be uncomprehendable that you could buy houses like this for 100 grand. And the fact of the matter is, it's not that difficult to get on the property ladder, especially when you know how to push the value up and then refinance it. If you know how to find deals like that, I'll buy them from you. You know, I'm buying deals constantly from my students that are bringing me good deals, and I'm paying £3,000, £4,000, £5,000 finder's fees. And you know what they're doing with those finder's fees? Well, they only need to sell 3 or 4 deals, and they've got 20 grand, and they can buy a house themselves. So if you want to join me, my team, learn how to find deals, how to invest, and how to get into the market as a deal sourcer, as a property entrepreneur, I'm running a completely free training session. It's upcoming very soon. So if you're watching this video now, don't miss out. Click the link. Join me on the free training session, and I want to show you exactly how potentially we could work together and show you how to get into property regardless of how much money you've got right now. Join me on the free online training. Click the link below, and I'll see you there.